Margie, I got it going, and I'll go make those copies.
Okay. Okay, yes. We'll start with the Our Father, and the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. So this week we're talking about who's who in the church. And if you read through here, you'll see there's a bunch of different titles and different roles. So I kind of made some notes and used this, and then I used Catholicism for Dummies, I believe, and looked up a few. And some things I found conflicting. So I'm hoping maybe Father can verify a few things, because now he went to make copies of something else. So I don't know if I made, and there may be typos. These are just notes to myself, but I figure sometimes it's easier just to look at someone else's and not have to, but you can think about it. But when we think about our church, it's also a government, because Vatican City is a country, basically, and have those rights. So it's called that it has a hierarchy, because the Pope is the head of the church, but it's more like a monarchy than a democracy. We do not get a vote on stuff, it's just kind of handed down. And it's more like a military chain of command rather than an elected representative government. So to start off with, the head of our church is Pope, and it's the Pope. And we know the first Pope was Peter, who was given that role from Jesus. And he's also the Bishop of Rome. And then we talked about the Pope's infallibility of the Pope. And there's some conditions to that. I told him there was a few things that when I researched that there was some
True in certain conditions.
yeah, and I put that on there, but I mean, in general, there was a few things that I had questions about. Okay, read one thing, one here. It's when he's speaking in the role of the shepherd of the church, he's defining a doctrine on matters of faith or morals. It's not on everything that he says. You know, it's just in certain condition. For example, Pope Pius XII with the Assumption of Mary, because that was a doctrine of faith. The regular teaching of the Pope does not meet this criteria. He can make mistakes like everybody else. Okay? The Holy See is the Pope and the Roman Curia, and it's basically the day-to-day running of the church. Do you want to come in with yours?
Yes.
Yes.
You say regular teachings of the Pope. What does that mean, regular teachings?
Well,
There's different levels of teaching.
Yeah.
The most dogma is the weightiest stuff. That would be like true presence of Christ in the Eucharist, Trinity, the Incarnation, stuff like that. He issues all kinds of documents which are given a certain name based on the weight they want to give them. Like, for example, cyclical is the weightiest. It's not infallible. It's the weightiest. Then there's apostolic letters, apostolic exhortations, et cetera, et cetera. And she was saying the infallibility only comes into play whenever he explicitly says he's saying it infallibly. And he does it in conjunction with all the bishops in the world. So he issued one way as a papal bull, like she was talking about in 1950 with the Assumption. It was done through a papal bull. It's only been done twice. And the other is whenever there is an ecumenical council of the whole church. So, for example, Vatican II was the last one. Whatever comes out of that is deemed to be infallible.
matters to me, I don't know about anything.
Well, you asked the question.
Oh, well, that regular teachings covers a lot of space.
That covers everything else.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about this or anything?
If you want me to. She mentioned it, it's a curia, like the president in the United States has a cabinet, you know, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the Pope has something kind of like that, called the curia. Now, this may be slightly inaccurate. You know, I think Francis is doing a little reform, so this may be slightly off base now. But this is basically what the curia looks like. These are the major components of it, that little graph down there at the bottom. You see congregations, tribunals, and councils. And being part of no nation, you know, the Vatican has their own Secretary of State as well. So you see all the different things under there, like somebody asked the question, I think, when we talked about saints, was there somebody who handles all that? Well, you see under congregations, one congregation for the causes of saints, they handle it. And the numbers are the years, I think, that they were instituted. They were begun.
Okay, so that's kind of like the government side. Okay, so underneath the Pope, and then you have the bishop, and the first bishops were the apostles, and they headed up diocese. And then, like we mentioned last week, if there's a really large diocese, there may be an auxiliary bishop to assist in sacraments and administrative duties. A main role of the bishop, besides running the cathedral and so forth, is the confirmation and holy orders. They are the ones that bestow those sacraments. And I thought this was interesting, each bishop visits the Pope every 5 years and kind of gives a report on his diocese. The bishops within an entire country or a nation get together at least once a year in a conference. We have the National Conference of Catholic Bishops. There's the United States Conference of Bishops. And I put that because sometimes you'll see it noted in different places, like the USCCB.
That's all there is now. There's not anything.
There's not national. Well, I found the Canada one and stuff, but you'll see things issued with their initials, and it's where all the bishops have come together and talked about it. Thanks. Then you have your vicar generals. They're the priests who help the bishop govern the local churches. Then when we talk an archbishop is equivalent to a bishop, it's just over an archdiocese because it's either larger by population. It also says historical significance. Sometimes they have the title of archdiocese. Then you have the papal, and I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Nuncio.
The diplomatic representative. It's a rank of an ambassador. And it's a facilitator between the bishops and the Vatican office. So that's more like a government role, like ambassadors to other countries and so forth. You have a cardinal, and a cardinal is an honorary title bishop by the Pope. Now, can a cardinal be issued to a priest or only to bishops? Can be given the title of cardinals?
Generally only done to bishops.
That's what I thought, but I couldn't find anything that said that specifically.
But they have no more authority than any bishop. The only thing they can do that other bishops can't is vote for the Pope.
Yeah, and that's why they can vote on the election of the Pope up until the age 80. At 80, they no longer get to vote. If we're elected.
And like, they have lots of we have lots of cardinals, right? I mean, you know, like whenever they're deciding who's going to be Pope, you know, isn't it the cardinals the ones that decide that?
Yes.
They
Right,
come
okay.
together.
That's what I was saying. They're the ones that come together to decide.
They meet in the
who's gonna be
Sistine
bishop.
Chapel.
Okay, yes.
And
And then when you see the smoke,
white smoke.
White
means
smoke.
We've got a pope.
We got a
Black
pope.
smoke means
They still ain't made
they're
a
burning the
decision.
ballots. and they
Yeah.
put
Oh, is that
chemicals
right? Okay,
in
yeah,
the colors
yeah.
I was gonna
to
say, I
burn
read
the
that
ballots.
they added.
Yeah, I knew when white
straw
smoke came out, that
to make
means
it
we
black.
had a bishop.
That's what I read.
I mean, I-
Yeah, they had wet straw to make it black.
Yeah.
And it said they voted so many times per day, twice.
Sometimes it takes
And
them a long
then-
time to.
And I think it's
Yeah.
twice a day and then vote up to 40 days, if I'm getting my numbers right. Which I looked at numbers
It
all
was
day today.
revised under John Paul II, and I kind of forget, that 80 thing came in there under,
After 40 days, because they have to win by 2/3 majority, I think up to 40 days after that, it becomes majority.
simple majority.
Yeah, so,
That's
but
right.
I don't think it's ever gone that long since.
Not in recent times, anyway.
No, and I would say in previous times, in earlier history, yes, because at one time I think we had 2 popes. 3, okay.
For
yeah.
3 people who claim.
To be pope, yeah, so if you go back and
Like
measure
the
that.
cardinals, like your cardinals, are they the only ones that can become pope?
No.
No,
Anybody,
that's
hey,
anybody, yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
even have to be a priest.
that's what I was gonna say, you don't even have to be a priest.
Really?
You can be elected pope, but before you can become a pope, you have to be ordained a priest.
So,
Leave me out.
so a priest could become, I mean, just a regular parish priest could be pope.
Yes.
Could
Is it- Could be, right?
Could be.
Okay, gotcha.
Highly
You might want to be
unlikely.
home someday. Don't think about that.
Yeah, but I thought that was neat, because
That's
it
pretty
said
cool. Yeah, I didn't know that.
that, they do have to be male.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
but it could, somebody not even a priest, if they
I didn't
were
realize that.
elected, but they would have to be ordained a priest first.
That's so weird.
I know, so I'm thinking, do they have to go
Happened in
through?
the law.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
and I was
that-
thinking, would they have to go through all the training? So would we wait to have a pope till they went through the training, or would they automatically give the?
They see smoke on.
It's a, yeah,
They might fast track him.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, if everybody knows it, you know, it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting. The priest was commanded at the Last Supper, and we have a diocesan priest who is to a specific diocese who's under the bishop. And then we also have religious priests who are members of religious communities, and they can work around the world, and they're usually invited by the bishop. I know St. Anne's, when Father Baker was here, can't remember his name, but there was a priest there that was a religious priest, and he was out of
Father of Mercy. He always has a Father.
Father
of
Mercy.
Yeah.
Father
Was it
Sean.
Father Sean? Was
Yes,
it him?
in the.
He had Father James too, he's a Father's Mercy.
Okay, and the Fathers of Mercy, where is their community?
Down in,
That's what I'm
around
thinking.
Auburn, Kentucky.
Okay,
I've only heard.
yeah, and I remember Father Sean was telling us one time that like when he got Christmas gifts and everything, he gave it to his religious community and they would give back what they deemed he needed and so forth.
Father Henry
Yeah.
Frank, Father Henry Frank, he was an order priest, I
For out of Ohio?
Yeah.
Yes,
think.
yeah, Father Hank,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember him.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I was head of parish council when he came in.
yeah,
He's really-
yeah.
Well, they take a vow of poverty.
Mhm.
That's the reason they have.
They can't own something individually, that's why
It's given to their community and then it's
All their
given.
whatever they
stuff is
earn, or,
furnished.
that's right, yeah, whatever they earn, they have to turn over to the superior, and they get back what they need to live on, and the rest stays with the community.
His father John Mark,
He's
he's
a-
order priest. yeah.
Right.
Oh, but,
And so, when you become a diocesan priest, is that because you were a member of this diocese when you became a priest? And you went through this diocese? How do the priests
Yeah.
determine which one? Is it how you join?
Yes, it's really how you're called, you know, I consider the Carmelites rather seriously.
yeah.
Okay.
But in the end, I wound up being a diocesan priest. So let's say I did become a Carmelite, then I would approach the vocation director with, you know, whatever province of the Carmelites that we're in here.
Mhm.
And I would begin a discussion with them, and then if they thought, well, okay, he looks like he's not some kind of goofball, or whatever, you know, then they would have me go through their process. And usually, most orders have a trial period, you might say. call it different things, where you sort of see if you like them and if they like you.
Okay,